car order. It's always been car order.
I strongly disagree.
That's the way it is. Rip him out through the window in a nice way.
Just so I can go down and drink a carton while everyone punches on.
Just pisses me to tears. That's the worst thing you can do.
You shut up, you hack. Talking about boat ramps, this is what I wanted to get through from the start. What he said.
Oh, you just been an idiot.
And welcome to the Chumming Up Podcast, the fishing, spearfishing and ocean adventure podcast that is run by the bad boys of fishing. Because we take camper vans boating, tinnies onto the land and catch barramundi on a Tuesday. I'm Squirly and with me, as always, is LEEWOLD. Mitchell, how you going, big horse?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to be here, as always.
Yeah? Happy? We're in
Very
the
happy.
Kimberley.
We are in the Kimberley. How nice is it?
How good is life?
But I had to wear a jumper this morning. It's not really what you want when you're barra fishing, is it?
Yeah, true, but it's better than Perth for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But that's not setting the bar real high.
But I caught a fish. So I think the most important thing is just to say, fuck you, Jarby. Eat shit and die.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, so we've got a great guest on today. We've got a guy local from Kununurra here in the Kimberley who absolutely brains the barramundis, the local guru, Curt McCartney. If you jump on Instagram, have a look. He also makes all his own lures, which is soft plastics and all sort from scratch. It's incredible. So, yeah, it's really cool. I'm really interested to hear what he's got to say.
Thanks for having me on, guys, and good to see you up here. Sounds like you've had a good day today out there on the Tara Bar.
Yeah, got a couple fish.
Yeah, it was a great day. You spoon-fed us pretty well. Go here, and then we caught one. So even Squirly could get one. That's how good the knowledge was.
Got me first shore-based.
Oh,
so
nice. And how big was that, mate?
60?
78.
78.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, cut yourself short.
Yeah.
And the biggest one you got was in the 800s, eh?
Yeah, 89 was the best one we got.
Yeah, Rob
right.
got that. I had to climb a cliff to get it up, so
Taking a bit of it, eh?
My fish.
Yeah.
Pretty
We're not going to mention that my dad, Rob, was yelling metery
Yeah,
the whole time.
he did yell meter pretty fucking early.
Those cliffs are pretty high.
Oh.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
We've all been there.
Yeah, that's the 1,000-pound call on the marlin,
Yeah.
which is with the barramundi.
Yeah, the worst is when you catch the fish.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shit.
He was
now it can't grow.
Yeah, he was trying to shake it off at the cliff. That's the only reason I had to grab it. He was doing everything he could to get rid of it.
I think he was the only one to catch more than one today too, so give us a bit of a licking, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He normally does. Between him and your son, Harvey, got one.
Yeah, he got one too.
Yeah, so he normally beats us too. So
Harvey looks like he's catching them all on the YouTube clips.
Yeah, yep. He's getting to a stage where it used to be like, oh, really good to see the kids catching a couple and makes me happy. And then we go fishing just together and it's like, oh, everyone's like, oh, good to let him catch a couple. It's like, let him, he's just giving me a flogging. So,
Pushing him down the back of the boat now.
yeah, well, we just, when we were at the servo today, they got little knot books. So he's not too bad with his knots, but I thought, stuff you can start tying everyone's everything. So we got him a knot book. He goes, oh, thanks. It's like, no. We don't tie knots now. It's for shooting.
the present that's actually for yourself. They're the best ones. So, how long have you been in Kununurra?
12 years, mate. 12 years. I was over in Broome for about 3 years before that, and then about 8 years in Darwin.
Yeah, right. So, fucking pretty much all the good places.
Yeah, no, it's been a good. It's been a good 25 years, that's for sure. But Kununurra it's a good place for fishing if you like it. That's for sure, mate.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest barra? Is that
caught a couple of 130s, so been lucky there.
Yep.
Oh, that all. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Out of the lake, and biggest wild one was 128, and it's still probably the best memory I have of fishing up here, catching that one Sunday afternoon by myself.
Yep.
Yeah, up Parry's Creek. It was good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That is pretty good. 128 saltwater barramundi. On a lure, I gather, you just
on an
lure
old
fish.
RMG 10-footer scorpion. Yeah, it's good. The only fish I caught for the day, and the missus, she sort of gave me a bit of a leave pass to go out and catch some food, and all I caught was a 128.
Yeah.
So she wasn't too wrapped when I got home. She doesn't have a good understanding of a 128, but there was no fillets for the kids, put it that way.
Fuck.
Tell you what, I'll take being in the dog box for a 128 salty any day of the week.
Oh, that's good.
I get in the dog box for a lot less than that.
Yeah.
Tip.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good afternoon, mate.
Fuck yeah. So did you just get... Oh, obviously, you're fucking into the Barra. Was it, like, immediate? When you very first caught your first barramundi, was that kind of like...
Yeah, I guess I grew up... I was fortunate enough to grow up on the Murray River down in Chukamoama, and me and my younger brother probably started doing a lot of lure fishing. We grew up bait fishing, then we got into lure fishing, and we probably did that for 3 or 4 years, and then, I don't know, small town mentality. I left town with me mate. We jumped in the car and headed over, I guess, your way, and drove up the coast and got to Darwin and caught a few barra and went, wow, how come it took us this long to get here? Like,
yeah, fuck, they're an incredible fish.
Oh, it was, mate. They just, the little 60-centimetre ones were just wild to catch as opposed to Murray cod. And then I guess I've spent the last 25 years doing that.
Yeah, fuck. Not a bad thing to do.
So many bloody, like, East Coast, particularly Victorian people I know become some of the better fishermen over in some fisheries because that Murray cod fishery, particularly in back 20, 30 years ago, was so difficult. They come into other fisheries just with that mindset and can just work harder than most of the people around on them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, what you just said, for sure. Up here, it's, you're just spoiled rotten with the fishing. I guess Murray cod fishing, you can go out. A good day's catching 2 or 3, but a good day up here is catching 20 or 30.
Yeah.
So,
See, now that's barra fishing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's a good apprenticeship down there, I guess, in a way. Working through the hard times with it.
Yeah, yep. And then obviously the other cool thing here is like these massive fish you were just talking about. You can go out and catch 20 or 30 and you're always a chance of getting that a metre fish or something even ridiculous, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess the place we're sitting on here has changed that quite a bit in the last, I don't know how long that's been, 5 or 6 years, Lake Kununurra. It's just, taking it to another level with the consistency of big fish too. So it's just mad, yeah.
Yeah, well, like yourself and a lot of like other local guys that are committed have put all the effort into getting it stocked and building it up to what it is. And I think even though I was lucky enough to be on the East Coast fishing some of the impoundments there a couple of months ago, and a couple of guys at the ramp in particular that see my number plates from WA are like, what are you doing fishing this? Like, we dream of going over to Lake Kununurra and fishing that. And I'm like, and it blew me away because I thought it wasn't that well known. I'm like, oh, what do you just don't know about it? Oh, I didn't think anyone knew about it. And they're like, no, we were really wanting to get there. And I was like, oh, what about that Lake Moondara or whatever? Big ones come out of that. And they're like, oh, no, I fished that, but I really want to go. A couple of guys in particular, it blew me away.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I guess COVID sort of slowed things down for a couple of years here where a lot of travellers would have probably come over and targeted the lake a lot more. But hopefully in the next couple of years, we do see a lot more travellers coming over. We need it, so we keep getting funding, I guess, for the stocking and stuff. I'd like to keep it for myself and not share it with anyone.
Yeah.
But, if there's going to be a future here, we need guys like you coming up from Exmouth, guys from Queensland coming over.
Yeah.
We need to see photos of a young fella catching a fish here and just, so Rec Fish West keep pumping money into it, I guess.
Yeah. And it does, anyone that loves barra fishing, especially the East Coast guys that have done impoundment fishing, for me it's so much better because I really enjoy saltwater barra fishing as well, and the lake here, because it runs all the time, it's almost a mix of the two. It's not quite either, and the fish, although they are just these fat, massive impoundment fish, they pull like a saltwater fish because they've got current that they're fighting.
Yeah.
Where when me, Dad, and Harvey fished Peter Faust, for instance, we caught a couple of fish that literally did nothing. Like they bit and did nothing. And it was like, oh, this is a little disappointing.
Yeah. The lake offers a lot. I guess I've never fished any of the Queensland dams, but I've watched a lot of videos and read a lot of magazine articles. I guess the difference Lake Kununurra has is the scenery. You're fishing in big gorge country. You're fishing in your, big red cliffs. And it's a mixture between a lake and a river, so it's quite unique.
Yeah, plus like even the location on the town. So most of the lakes are out of the towns. They're only 20 minutes or whatever, but this is literally right on it. So like at the moment we're at one of the caravan parks. I got my family here. Boat can stay in the water. I'll go shoot around, have a fish in the morning, come back, and then we'll all go out for lunch at the pub. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Oh, it's good to hear from visitors. That's real good.
Yeah. So, and then
Fucking
when you're
heaven.
talking a couple of metre 30s out of it too, I think,
Yeah.
like, I don't think anyone's listened to what I got to say.
Yeah, that's a lot of hours on the lake, you know. Like, there's a lot of fishless trips too, like you hear about over in Queensland. But the big point is, like you're having a crap day at work or something, you can just go home, hook your boat up, chuck your boat in the lake and be out on the water in 10, 20 minutes and your day's forgotten about. And that's a good point you made about it being so close and centralised to town.
Yeah, fuck. It sold me like almost straight away. I was like, I need to get back up here, and I haven't even left here yet. So
That's a go.
Yeah, and you can swim in it and that too. There are people swim in it.
Yeah.
You know, it is. I can't believe that people don't talk about this joint more than I'll never hear about it really, except for guys that I personally know that have come. So.
Yeah, I guess that's a good thing and a bad thing. Like I said,
It won't be forever.
No,
you know.
I don't think so. But I have noticed, it's becoming a bit more of a topic like Kununurra, which is good on social media and places like that. So, yeah, hopefully we can get a bit more of an audience and fishing crowd to it. That'd be great.
yeah. The stocking. I'm an idiot, so I don't really. How's that work as far as like what was the plan? Is there numbers or?
I'm not. Yeah, I'll just give you a basic rundown. There was a guy, a bit of a Kununurra fishing legend, Dick Passfield, that he pushed it for a long time. And to cut a long story short, they had to catch some local fish for broodstock. So they went down the Lower Road, caught some local fish for broodstock. They got sent over to the aqua farm or whatever it is over in Broome. That's where the fingerlings come from. And then the fingerlings make the long journey from Broome every time. So what's it? From Broome, what's the drive? 10, 11 hours?
Yeah, 1,200 k's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they load the truck up with 2 big tubs full of fingerlings and bring them over every so often and dump them in the lake. So those original fish were from the Lower Road.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Yeah,
Fuck, that's cool.
it is pretty cool. And they do the big drive over and drop them off, and you know the volunteers sort of spread them out through the lake when they arrive.
Yep.
So I'm just going to go a bit off topic because this thing really interests me, and I want to ask Curt about it because I really value his opinion on it. So the original fish are from the Lower Road, and you catch them to 1.30 m in the lake and 1.28 m in the wild. So obviously there is massive fish here, and that's not the case with barramundi everywhere. So do you believe, I've talked to a few people about this, that it's the genetics of the fish or it's the location that is just heavier in feed? Like, you know, like you've got on the East Coast, you got Gladstone and Rockhampton that they get 1.20 m, 1.30 m saltwater fish. But then when you get up to Cairns, they're not that big. Do you believe it's the genetics, like just the groups, or the feed?
I think it's both. I'm not a fish scientist or anything, but I have heard people with a little bit more knowledge on it talk about the Ord River fish and their genetics, like I said. But I'm thinking both. The abundance of food in the lake, there's big fish down the Lower Ord well before the lake became a fishery. They're just, the Ord's renowned for big, fat barramundi. And then I guess you go throw them into a restaurant smorgasbord, they're going to grow even bigger and fatter. Like the amount of bony brim up there, cherubin, black brim. They've just, there's so much food.
Well, I've had the bloody pain in the ass of the bony brim just on me sounder because I'm like, there's schools of little barra here, and they're just massive bonies. So you see them boil on the top. Oh, shit.
A lot of
around with bloody bait.
A big one up there too is the little eel-tailed catfish. A lot of people don't realise that the barra they go after those eel-tailed catfish. A lot of the time you'll catch a big barra and you'll pull it up on your deck and it'll spew out 2 or 3 of the little eel-tailed catfish.
Yeah,
so that was only something I sort of picked up in the last 5-10 years myself. 5 years, sorry. I didn't realise that barra ate eel-tailed catfish. And
yeah, well, I wouldn't have. Because they're spiky, obviously. I would have thought that'd be a bit of a no-no.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty common thing to see the big barra spew the eel tails out.
Yeah, well, that sort of brings us to the next bit that obviously, Curt, you make your own lures as well. And, when I was a kid, I had to go up making hard body lures where you must have thought that was too easy and went to designing your own soft plastics and building them from scratch, not even, just it just seems so difficult to me.
I guess it was the lake that started driving me to make them, and I guess it was 6 to 8 years ago that I started making them. Now they're everywhere, soft plastic lures. You got your big mag drafts. You got back 6 to 8 years ago, they weren't around, so I just had a crack at making a few. I brought some molds from Sweden and started making them, and they were a bit of a hit back then. None of the fish had really seen the real big lures in the lake, and it was probably a little bit less pressure on it, and I was smashing them up there for a while on them.
Yep.
But now it's more a hobby now. It's, I don't know, a bit like making furniture or stuff like that. There's a bit of an enjoyment factor in making them. Not so much a fishing tool anymore. I still fish them quite regularly, but it's just quite enjoyable making new designs and painting new colours and mixing new colours and so forth.
Yeah, well, you were saying about the eeltail catfish, I've seen on social media, I haven't seen them ones personally. You made an eeltail catfish lure, soft plastic, and it just swam awesomely from what I'd seen.
Yep.
You might, you say that they see big lures and that now, but you still can't buy eeltail catfish ones and that, it's incredible, But now you can buy prawn lures everywhere, but basically before that you were making full-size cherubim soft plastics too, I think it just blew me away when I come across your social media page with you doing that. It just really intrigued me. I thought it was awesome.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, it's quite addictive. There's some really good lure makers over in Sweden, the pike fishermen, so I won't lie, I steal a lot of ideas from them and try and incorporate them back into Barra lures. But I guess that's like everything in life. Anyone who designs anything,
inspired.
Yeah, that's right. Elon Musk stole Starlink off me.
Yeah, you came up with that idea. Okay. Yeah, is it extra rewarding when you design a lure, make the lure, and then see it? Well, obviously, swimming is the first thing, but then when it's in a fucking barramundi's gob, is that just
100%.
the extra ultimate?
Yeah, mate, 100%. Like one of the meter 30s I caught was on one of my own lures last year. It was a great night.
Say no more.
People look at me and go, "Oh, it was a great night." I was like, "Oh, it's just super rewarding to catch a fish."
Yeah,
like, to test the lure you made, I guess, like its strength and the whole thing unfold. I was up the lake one evening, just like it was a work night, school night, and I was just, you could see the fish swimming past all night, and I'm thinking, geez, they're big. And I was just casting out one of those little bony brim lures, and it hit it probably about 2 meters away from the boat. So up there, it's just eerie quiet at about 6 or 7 at night, and you could just hear it underwater implode on the lure. It's just like, boom. I was like, oh. And then it just, took off. And when I got it in, I was like, wow. But it was, super rewarding.
Fuck yeah.
That's incredible. And you're obviously like a bigger man than me. We've got a couple of your lures here. I've got them in my hand, and they are just incredible. The quality and workmanship is just next level. And if I'm fishing with someone and I catch a fish, not here, I haven't caught one that big, but if I catch a good fish on a store-bought lure, I don't let them borrow it. And here you are dropping them off after catching meter 30s on them. Yeah. I'd be like, no, you can't buy them. But stuff is.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
Do you sell them online or you just?
Not. I only sell a couple, mate, to cover the cost of the hobby, more or less. I don't have a shop or anything, so to speak. It's more a hobby. So I have thought about doing it a bit more full time, but cuts into my fishing time. I've got I've got a young family, and it's more a hobby at the moment, mate.
Yep.
And it's a pretty competitive market out there when you're making something handmade and all this Chinese stuff, and that's coming in. It's I sell to a few real keen fishermen around Australia and it's more rewarding giving them to people that are really involved in fishing and hoping they catch something really good more so than the money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's got to be hard because like you said, with the Chinese production, is a lot of it is just finding the design and then they just send it over. And
that's right.
Yeah, but I think this is I would have thought that catching a meter 30 barra or whatever is really cool too. But if someone catches something like that on your lure, it would almost feel like you caught it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was sort of heading towards before. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
You get a bit of money to buy the next tub of plastisol, so be it.
Yeah, a bit like, I suppose, like a charter guy or whatever, where you know, someone else catches a fish with them. It feels like, you know, I put him onto that, feel like it's part of them, you know. So
Yeah, I count every fish that got caught on the charter as my fish. Because they're most of the fish. I was so much better fisherman when other people were fishing for me.
Yeah, if you want to
fine.
count everyone's fish today, you can have a few more.
I'll take them too. If anyone's around me, I'm taking their fish as caught.
Well, I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to swim one of these lures. I think I'm swimming it tomorrow straight up.
Hopefully you get one on it, mate. That'd be good.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop till I do because they're just incredible. And I'm just like playing with them now. And, you know, like when you do the flop test on the plastic where you stand it straight up, this thing is a 12 out of 10, isn't it? On the flop test.
I get some funny looks at home when I got them on the couch. Missus goes, "You got your lures in your hand again?" I'm like,
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like, you know.
I'm sort of sitting there looking at thinking, just Googling over the workmanship.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's
just
like
playing
bloody-
with your lure on the couch.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. But, you know, like I don't know if it's even a bloody thing, but all lure fishermen will know what you're saying when you say the flop test. You look at this thing, it's like, Jesus Christ. It's just going to wiggle the bloody
It's a
bejesus out
fine
of it.
balance because if they are too floppy, they'll rip. But
Yeah.
you make them too.
Yeah, of course. So you're trying to get that strength as
They
well.
were a couple I made for myself, so I'm not too afraid if they rip open. I'm not going to get some angry customer saying, "Oh, your lure ripped open after one fish."
See, I had never
Yeah.
even thought about that. Like, I just sort of thought of the design. Not that then there's obviously the strength of the plastic and everything that comes
and
into
there's
it.
the modern plastic out, the Z-Man lures are made out of, and that's why it's hard to compete with that sort of stuff. Those new lures can catch 20 or 30 fish before they rip. These things, you know, they might catch 2 or 3 big fish and then they're probably gone. But that's
If it catches me a
Fuck
metre
it.
30, mate, I won't be
Yeah.
like coming back for
you
warranty.
know, that's like all handmade stuff. That's
Oh, fuck. That's what you want, though.
Hmm.
I mean, really. Fuck. Catch a fish, switch the cunt out.
Yeah.
Happy for life.
Yeah, and it's also good when you're standing on a boat with guys that fish a lot and they've got tackle boxes, you know, that are like up to your waist and they got every lure ever and you pull one of them out and they just go, "What the fuck?" And they can't replace it. That's
Yeah.
just, I love that moment. Just like, you wish you could. Yeah, it's like having a couple of discontinued lures. What's that colour? Oh, they don't make it anymore.
Yeah,
You know?
nah, sorry, mate. You got to do the case.
I've seen that you also paint a few of your hard body lures yourself and that in the past too.
Yeah, I haven't done much of that for a while. I sort of went through a phase where I was making quite a few of them. That's just as addictive. Yeah, I make a few wooden ones and try and play around with them, making them suspending, and I just try to make stuff that's a bit different to what's out there, I guess. Yeah.
So that's really cool. Like, it's always the guys at the top of the game like yourself, you know, like Johnny Mitchell on the East Coast that just like put that extra effort in and really nut those things out. And then I suppose like anything, then it spreads through the community. Like it's like, you know, like it's no knowledge, but it's not at the start, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if I can be compared with Johnny Mitchell, but
I
just make some.
definitely would, yeah. I've spent a bit of time with Johnny and he's a great guy. And I definitely would compare you to Johnny Mitchell. That's why I was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Yeah, she's pretty addictive, mate. It's a good hobby to have. Sort of give up drinking a few years ago, and I guess I've taken up lure making to an extent.
Fuck, better than heroin anyway.
Yeah.
As far as hobbies go.
I haven't
Probably
had that.
more expensive, but...
Well, it's probably not as when you start melting plastic. It's very similar, I guess.
Yeah, that you were saying before, you could smells like a meth lab. You got the cops coming around. No, it's all right. I'm broke. I'm just a fisherman.
Yeah, just making lures, mate. Trust me, I'd have another car out there if it was something else. Bigger bite. Yeah. So, is it just all barramundi for you, or you like to travel to find other fish?
Yeah, I guess my real passion these days is remote trips down the Gulf. Going either way, wet season, you tend to go up the end you guys went to, the Durack, the Pentecost, Parry's Creek, and then in the build-up, you head down the other direction. Like, to me, that's my real passion these days, is chasing those big saltwater barra.
Yep.
It's just, we're just spoiled over here, mate. There's a handful of people and a massive Gulf and river systems to fish. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it. it's insane to me because, like, just going down one creek one way or one river one way and then coming back when the tides changed is a completely different fucking place to me. So I couldn't imagine, like, all the river systems and shit just a fucking labyrinth to me. But I couldn't see how you could get bored.
Oh, you can't get bored. It's just finding time, mate, to get in, get in them all. But it's a great place to live and great place for people to come on holidays, I guess.
Yeah.
If you got a little bit of boating experience, it's a lot to do here, a lot.
Yeah, and it's just like it's that saltwater side you're talking about, particularly, is so cool. Like it interests. That's why I've been coming here and met you. It's so interesting because it's like a 3 or 4th dimensional puzzle, like Squirly said. There's like you're just saying. There's wet season, then there's build up, and then there's spring tides, neap tides, everything in between. High tide, low tide, going in, going out, and you can go somewhere and spend a full day and learn less than 1% of it. You're like, okay, I know a little bit on a spring tide when the water's warm at the top of that tide. Now to learn it when the water's warm at the bottom, when the water in between tides coming in, was there rain, wasn't there rain, what's the moon doing? And, you're like, oh, that spot's shit. And then next week someone's like, oh, I caught a heap there. Oh, Jesus, what, So it's just this evolving learning curve and then like you are, the information becomes the addiction. You're like, you just want to clock it. Like, I think this will happen there, then, and you go there and you catch one. You're like, oh, I was right. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure, mate, for sure.
And I suppose that's what a lot of these master classes that guys are running these days, like Johnny Mitchell and that,
Yeah, I'm interested in them. Have you done one of them? Or?
No, I haven't done one. No. I think it's the same as what you're saying. It's just the time and that sort of hard.
Timing on the waterways or?
Oh, just time to do anything like that.
Right,
like it's sort of like if you get it, like to get a week and stay with Johnny to do that and go over there, it's like my mind's just going, oh, I'd love to go black bass fishing or maricod fishing, so it's like, but I probably should, I know a couple of guys that have done it and I do know Johnny as well, and everyone I know that's done it has said it's incredible.
Yeah, right.
So
that's interesting because you read a lot of that stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and you think, is that just publicity to get?
It's
But it's interesting to hear that because, like the Dick Passfield that did this, started all this stocking stuff, speaks very highly of Johnny Mitchell himself, and he pushed to try and get him to come over here a while ago, and he spoke pretty highly of him, and I respect his opinion. It's interesting to hear that too.
Yeah, well, I think where Johnny's good is because he thinks very much outside the box. So he's different thinking to most people. Isn't that he tells you an answer and I think that's what a lot of people think. That I don't know. This is what I'm gathering, but I assume through knowing Johnny, they don't tell you an answer. It just changes your way of thinking.
Yeah, right.
I think I would assume you're probably already most part there, like tides and that, or whatever, you say, I would have thought it's about, you see birds and then you're like, oh, them birds feed on, you see them, oh, they've migrated here, they feed on prawns, oh, threadies feed on prawns or something like that.
Right.
Everything's connected. That's, that's what he talks about, the connection of everything, so.
Yeah, right. These days I just go when I can, mate, with kids and I just get out when I can.
Yeah. So do you tend to spend like a couple nights up in a system when you go, or is it all just day trips? Or?
No, I try to these days, mate. I try to book in a day off at work, and I sort of look a couple of months in advance and look at the tides and go, right, and I'm a bit of a hermit, I guess. I chuck me swag in my boat and I just head off by myself. People look at me and say, you got no friends or there's something wrong with you, but I actually just like going away and not just being out in nature and fishing and being able to try new methods without, you go fishing with someone, you're always sort of working together. You go by yourself, you can try new fishing methods, you can go home if you've had enough after one day.
Yeah, fuck.
I totally get it. It's like having Squirly, you got to babysit him all the time.
Yeah. I was thinking it's a way better excuse than what I've got, because I just come on the podcast and people say, you got no mates, fucking you're a bit of a weirdo. And then I've got nowhere else to go.
That's okay.
So at least you're going fishing.
Yeah, no. I always try to go for a couple of nights, mate, most of the time. Then you got the lake to fall back on where you can shoot out about this time of night now, and you
magic,
can go up
isn't
and you can fish up there during the night without a saltwater crocodile dragging you out of the boat.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, have you had any problems with the crocs?
In the lake or?
Oh no, like when you're out fishing, because I mean, all the ones I've seen so far, they've been very shy and
Not really, mate. Not really. There was a couple that grabbed a couple of fish over the weekend. Last week when I was up fishing.
Yeah,
all I seen was their tail, and then I wound the fish in, and there was a couple of big teeth marking the barra. But nah, generally not so, mate. Nah, generally not. If you're smart and don't do anything silly, you're pretty safe.
They're cool though, aren't they? Like
they're wicked animals.
They add a dimension to it.
You guys probably need to get your boat in down that lower Rord now with these cooler nights, and you'll see some real dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's one thing I have noticed. I was saying to the guys is I've never been here before when it's been this cold. Not that it's cold, really. I'm in short shirts. It's getting dark. But with it, they're hopping out of the water more. Yeah. So I sort of I'd been up to the territory and I'm like, oh, there's way more crocs up there than there is here. But there isn't. You just don't see them as often here. Now it's cooler. They're warming up and I am seeing them.
They possibly get shot at a lot more over here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a theory I have. I think maybe gun laws are a little bit more slacker over big cowboys over here. And
maybe older too, like where the ones that got shot and all had to grow up.
Yeah, very true. Very true, yeah.
There's not the boat traffic here too to...
There's down that lower road. You see some crocodiles. I've never had one where it's been a scary experience, but there's some massive ones down there. It's definitely worth putting your boat in and just grabbing a couple of beers and drifting down the river and watching them this time of year. They're huge.
Yeah, shit.
It could be tomorrow or the next day. Sounds bloody awesome.
But you see them under Diversion Dam here. There's a couple of really big ones that live down there, like 4-meter ones.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for me personally, they add a really cool element to it. I love it. It sort of just makes it that wild Australia that every international tourist thinks it is, you know.
Yeah, I was saying that the other day that I find like this place to me is sort of the Australia that the rest of Australia sells as Australia.
Yeah,
like you watch a Melbourne movie or even Eastern State comedians that are talking about, they sell the people and the landscape as though it's like here. But I think it's, kind of a wicked little small part that's left of...
Yeah, no, it's a good place.
Of what's fucking wild. And I think the crocodiles are a big part of it because, like we were saying today, through that river and stuff like that, you'd have white water rafting tours and everything else.
Oh, fucking jet skis. That's the Murray cod fishing. If you could just rig a rod with a bloody 32-ounce snapper lead and throw it over as it come past and it was legal, you'd do it.
Jet skis and tubers, eh?
Oh, they just... go for it. Just don't circle me all day when there's all the river there, you fucking Peter. We're here, it's like... How good's this? A crocodile eat you fuck knuckles.
Yeah. Well, I grew up as a fisherman in a skiing town, so it was like, it was tough work,
Someone needs to make a movie of that. Yeah. Like the fisherman that grew up in a skiing town, like Footloose, but he just taught them all how to catch fish instead.
Yeah, well, like he was talking about the lure with the flop, if it gets too soft and tears, you couldn't make one too soft if you're casting it at one of those pricks, I reckon. That's how I see it,
hey? Maybe that's the plan from here, LEEWOLD. You chuck a couple crocs in the back of the camper van, locate them back.
Dump them in the Murray.
Dump them back in the Murray.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah. Actually, you won't even have to fucking catch them. Just next time you go and throw a river, just open the back of the fucking camper van and let him in. You're fucking coming with me to Victoria. It's all right.
Missus will probably fucking like it more than me, and I'll end up getting food.
Sorry, LEEWOLD, I've married a crocodile. He's a bit more friendly than you.
Yeah, he's like you. He's old and leathery and been around since the dinosaurs.
Yeah. He's got a twinkle in his eye that you don't have anymore. Fuck yeah. Oh, wicked. I don't know. Have you got more questions?
I got a question.
That's good.
So, for a man that's caught 1.30 metre off his own lure 1.28 saltwater barramundi. What is the big goal? What do you really want to get?
Are we talking worldwide or?
Yep, we're talking anything.
Anything.
I go, my partner's Canadian, so we normally go over for a holiday there each year. I'd like to really stop down in Florida and catch one of those big tarpon one year.
Yeah.
That's probably American's version of the barramundi, but 10 times bigger. That's probably my dream fish.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to go catch a 8-foot sturgeon before, which was
Oh,
unbelievable.
wow.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'll start the podcast again.
That was unbelievable. That was before we had kids. We went on a holiday over to Canada, and I stayed behind and went on a tour for a few days, and I was lucky enough to get one of them. So that was always a dream fish, and yeah.
Let's just run through that a little bit.
Hmm.
So lure, bait, how did that go down?
They call it a stink bait. So the salmon swim up the river that time of year, do their thing, breeding, and I think they die pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they do.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do die. Yep.
They float back down the river like a dead
Yeah,
carp
they
on the
fertilise back
Murray
through
or a
it,
dead
yeah.
catfish out in the lake here. So we went out 3 days, and the guide, I was lucky enough it was only me and the guide, which, you know, if you go on a guided tour, it's awesome just to be the one client. You get so much more attention and detail off them. Anyway, we're driving up the river, and he's just driving on slow, and he's going, looking for stink baits. I'm like, what? And he pulls up, to slows the boat down, sticks the landing net aside, and pulls in this big, rotten, decaying salmon in his landing net and just plonks it in the boat. Oh, all right. But we went ahead and cut that up and used it for bait when we got higher up the river, and that's what we caught the sturgeon on.
Yeah, wow, that's cool in its own right.
So
that
I guess what must be happening is the salmon swim up the river and die, and then they eventually find their way on the bottom, and the sturgeon eat them. But,
Yeah.
maybe not. Yeah, that's what I presumed anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah, fuck.
I rate that. Especially to catch one while there's a heap of dead salmon. I come across a creek full of mullet and I can't get a bite 'cause there's too much food. So.
Yeah.
So obviously it pulled like buggery then. Like it
It was
fought.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Did it jump for you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Wow, I've seen
Like
I've
a
seen
barra.
the videos where they jump, and it must be incredible. And fast water.
Probably, yeah, about medium. Well, there was a bit of current there, but it wasn't super fast, no.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was a good experience. Yeah. And then on that tour, actually, so I did 3 days sturgeon fishing, and then I had a 4th day booked in sturgeon fishing, and the actual owner of the business said, look, do you want to go out for do you want to go out for a 4th day sturgeon fishing, or I'll take you up in my jet boat up into this creek? And he took me up into the creek, and it was unbelievable, catching big salmon, and yeah, it's probably one of the best fishing experiences I've had.
Yeah,
it was
wow.
unbelievable.
Well, it's something I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't realise tours like that even existed. Now it's become on my bucket list.
I
It's
guess I was just spoiled, because I guess most fishing tours you see 2 or 3 clients in a boat.
Yep.
But when you're going one guide and one
Yeah,
client,
one-on-one.
it makes it so much better.
Oh, well, and obviously you can fish
Oh, yeah.
too, so
Like,
that helps them. They love that.
100%. Without sounding like a tool, if you know how to cast a rod without backlashing or
Yeah.
getting a bird nest, it makes their day a lot easier, so they're prepared to put
Yeah,
a bit
well, they
more
can,
in.
yeah, they can fish you the way they want to fish.
Yeah, but no, it was a great experience over there in BC. But yeah, tarpon, mate. One day, hopefully, you can catch a tarpon.
So what about that? Is that like, tarpon and fly is a big thing? You want to lure? Does it matter if it's a
Doesn't
live
matter.
bait? Just
Doesn't
catch
matter.
one?
Just catch one, yeah. Just catch one.
A mate of mine caught a real big 100-pounder or something, and they're probably not for me. I'm not right into catching the fish that pull real hard because it's like hard work. I'm pretty lazy, so like I'd love to watch someone catch one. But yeah, that's why I love driving the boat with Marlon, because they're hard work. So the boat driving's good, and I get to be part of it. But actually winding them in's too hard for me.
Yeah, I better hurry up as I am getting older. So
Yeah, yeah, I reckon that'd be great. And the fishery's getting harder too, by what I hear.
yeah, right.
Yeah, which is cool too. You got to earn it. So.
Yeah, nice. That's the dream fish, mate. I'd like to get back over to Exmouth one day. It's something me and my partner and family have talked about, doing a holiday over there and bringing our little tinny over and going out and chasing fish there. I was up there when we first left New South Wales, Victoria, and we had no idea what we're doing, but it was an awesome time catching queenfish, and yeah, I'd like to get there and catch a sailfish one day too. But
Yeah, well, if you're ever there, mate, that's easy. We'll go and do all that.
I've had a couple of cracks at sailfish when I used to live in Broome, but no, I was more into chasing barra.
Yep.
Yeah, shit. Fuck. That's unreal. But my only question was, just because you brought up Canada and America, was we did get asked about barramundi from some American listeners of why Australians are so obsessed with catching them. Well, what is it about them for you, anyway?
The hunt, like hunting them in relation to tides, you know, like no disrespect to Murray cod, you can pretty much chase them any time of the day. And you know, I guess barra, there's so much involved in it, planning trips around tides and moon phases, and then the end of it is catching some fish that nearly pulls you out of the boat. I had my old man up here a couple of weeks ago, and he was lucky enough to catch a couple of 98s, and one of them, like, he's getting older, I was looking at him thinking, I'm just going to nearly pull him out of the boat. I nearly took the rod, like I was thinking. Yeah. But it was unbelievable. Like, the fight of a 98 centimetre barra, like, it's the thrill of the hunt for me. Like, like planning a trip 2 months in advance and thinking about going down to the Wyndham Gulf, like you're like a kid. You sit there and dream about it for 6 weeks about catching metre 10s, and it doesn't pan out like that. Sometimes you only catch. Well,
that's what makes it so fucking great when it does. But I mean,
it's just addictive. Yeah,
they're fucking awesome looking fish at the end of it. Like,
it's just hunting them. It's more hunting to me than fishing, if that makes sense. I just love going out by myself and trialing different new techniques and different spots, and that's my passion with them.
Yeah, wicked. You got anything else, LEEWOLD?
No, I just reckon it's been so good. I've learned heaps this time. It's unreal.
Yeah, fuck. So we're gonna be fishing a few more days, and hopefully, definitely trying out those lures, and hopefully you'll fucking land
I'll definitely be trying out these lures. I don't know what you'll be using. You'll find your own way to catch a metre 30 prick.
Yeah. I bought a couple little ones today, so I'm good. I've already caught a fish, so...
Yeah, that's enough for you. I'll try out the lures.
I'm fucking happy it has. Other than that, fucking cheers for chumming up. I reckon has been a wicked...
Thanks for having me on.
No, anytime. And, hopefully LEEWOLD gets you onto a sail fishing expert at some stage.
One day we'll get over there. One day. Yeah.
Fuck off. All right. Cheers, lads.
All right. Cheers.
Oh my god. What the fuck is happening right now? Dolphin in the killer whale's mouth? Holy shit. Oh, this is the best day of my life, God. What?
I like going down the pond chasing bluegills, kamikaze.